The Big E Sports Show.
Yeah, we got it going on,
The fastest hour in sports entertainment. We don't just talk about the headlines. We bring you some of the most engaging and colorful guests each and every episode for your listening pleasure. Now, without further ado, here's your host, Elissa Walker-Campbell.
College football conversation continues as we look forward to all the big matchups on Saturday. We are thrilled to have with us for the very first time the head coach at Texas Southern University and former NFL great Cris Dishman. Thank you for joining us, Coach.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate being on your show.
Well, we've got a lot to unpack. It's your first season with the Tigers. And Cris, let's just take a deep dive and examine your team and what were your expectations coming in and how would you summarize how the season ultimately played out?
Well, as we started this season, my first meeting with our coaches is I told them that we have to graduate young men and win. Our goals was win the West. Our first goal was beat Prairie View. We done that. Our second goal was win the West. We did not accomplish that goal. Our third goal was win in Atlanta. We have to win the West in order to get to Atlanta. We did not accomplish that goal. So it was three goals that's still out there we did not accomplish. It was 1 for 3. So we went 5-6. It's not a winnable season, but we have positive things of what we've done this year to get us over the hump next year.
Well, and the Tigers, as you said, they closed out the year with a total of 5 wins. And did you know that marks the most since 2022? So it's evident your team responded to your coaching. And I guess my question is, how were you able to quickly connect and bring out the best in your players and maximize their strengths?
Because they know I'm genuine. I'm very true and honest with them. I'm a fair coach. Now, do I get after them? Yes. I'm an old school coach who's going to get after you. I expect you to do your job each and every time. I expect you to do the little things. And that's why we didn't win 7 games, because we did not do the little things. The little things in football matters. Everything matters in football. Not only football, but team sport. In life in general. Let me just say that. Not even think football. Every little thing matters. If you tell a person you're going to be somewhere, you have to be there. If you tell them you're going to do it, you have to do it. So those 2 weeks, and I take it on myself, those 2 weeks, we didn't do the little things. And that's coaching. That's me. I didn't stress the little things as I did in the past. But from this point forward, I'm stressing the little things. Even in the off season, I'm stressing the little things. But I tell the players, it's always football, basketball, baseball, all the team sports. It's always a player's game. So a player-ran team is the best team you can have.
Absolutely. And you did finish the 2024 season strong. In fact, picked up a win in the season finale with that 31-23 win over Arkansas Pine Bluff. Just your takeaways from that particular game, and how about that season crescendo?
Well, that game was very good to win. You know what I'm saying? It's for the psyche of our players around here. The program been down for so long, and everyone was very excited to get to 5 games, And I'm not trying to downplay 5 games, so excuse me if I sound like a Debbie Downer. I'm not. But 5 games, winning 5 games, I felt like we could have done more. I, as a coach, have to do more to get those guys to realize that 5 games is not good enough.
You were listening to the voice. Cris Dishman, head coach at Texas Southern, is joining us. We know the name well. He was a 2-time Pro Bowl selection, played 13 years in the NFL, had a terrific career. And so let's talk about it is the off season, and you've got to be excited about what the future holds. What is your focus right here, right now?
Well, I am very excited. Yesterday was the first time we could sign our recruits. We got out of the 10 recruits we wanted to sign yesterday, we signed all 10. So I'm very excited about that. We still got more room to work. We're still looking for more guys to sign. And once we get our full freshman class in, it's going to be a very good freshman class compared to now our freshman class last year, now sophomores, and getting these freshmen in. So I'm very excited about next year and what can happen. What can happen towards as far as recruiting, and also we can building this program to be a winning program. We're in Houston, Texas. We're in the fourth largest city in the country. We're in the heart of Houston. And
Yeah.
being in the heart of Houston, is no way we cannot win here. We just got to keep the players in Houston, and when I say Houston, Houston and the surrounding areas, your Fort Bend counties and the counties outside of Houston. We got to keep our good players here at home. You know, and parents, I know you want to go to your Texas, and I know you want to go to your Texas A&Ms. I know you want to go to those bigger schools, but if you decide to bring your child here at Texas Southern, they're going to get a great education, going to play some great football, and going to get some great coaching. So you don't have to send them off to your Texas A&Ms, your SMUs, and your Baylors. You can send them right here to Texas Southern and get the same thing. And you're only going to be 15 to 20 minutes away from where you're living. So wherever you live in the surrounding areas, we're in the heart of Houston. And when you've been in the heart of Houston, you're only 15, 20 minutes away, and you can come and see them play, and you can come and check on them every time.
Yeah. Coach Dishman, it is fascinating listening to you and just your message to your recruits about the culture that you want to establish, laying a solid foundation, one brick at a time. What was your message when you first arrived, going back to the summer months on with the guys, the players that were already had their boots on the ground and building a culture that you want to create and that is sustainable?
Well, you have to give to get. I told our players, don't come with your hand out. Come with something to give before you can get. I challenged our players to do community service hours. Each player had to do 24 hours of community service hours. Now, next year, I have to raise it up. Each player now have to do 48 to 50-some hours of community service hours because there was some guys who went well beyond community service hours. Got some guys did 70, 60, 50, and some guys did right at the minimum of 24. Every player did a minimum of 24. But there were some guys get well beyond the 24 hours community service. And I always felt like my parents have always taught me that if you give, you would get. Don't always come with your hand out asking for something, and be more involved in community. And that's what we did. We did a lot of food drives. We did some candy giveaways. We did help out homeless. So the more of our players can get out there involved in community, the better the community is, the better we are as people.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cris Dishman era, it is underway. You set the tone from the start with that resounding victory over Prairie View A&M to kick off the season, that Labor Day Classic battle. Now we fast forward to your final season, which was at the end of November, that season finale that we just highlighted. You and your staff, you guys had a chance to huddle up and kind of reflect on just how everything played out, and where did your team improve the most? What say you?
I think every player improved. Now, I can't sit here and single out one group. I think as a team, we all improve. And we realize that, hey, we can have a very good team coming from not this year's, but the years to come. We just have to get different pieces in here to help us, And that's what we need from the players who may hear this conversation. You don't have to go away. You can come 15 minutes from your house or 20 minutes from your house. You can come here and play good football, go 20 minutes home and eat. You can always eat at home if you come here to Texas.
Hey. You got to love that. Well, and what you're saying too is, your team, they got stronger, but football, it is a very mental sport. It's a mental grind that includes strategy and your ability to make quick decisions under pressure. Talk about the mental component, your message to your team in terms of that and just how much they improved getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations when the pressure's really on.
Well, that's the quote. Your last quote is what we always use. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Comfortable.
Okay.
It's okay to be uncomfortable. Things sometimes life, and things happen. You have to move on with it. You have to deal with it and move on. You don't want to go in a corner and sulk and go in a corner and pull, woe is me, and want people to feel sorry for you. Your life is a lot better off than other people. You have a lot of homeless people here in Houston.
Yes.
Who have their life is down. Those are the people you can feel sorry for. You're not homeless. You know where your next meal is coming from. There's a lot of people here in the Houston area and surrounding area that may not know where their next meal coming from. You know where your next meal coming from. So let's don't let no one feel sorry for you. Let's get up, dust your boots off since you're in Texas. Dust your boots off, and move on.
Hey, we're so glad you're with us. You are dialed in to the Big E Sports Show. Many different ways to connect with us at eRadio Sports, Twitter or X. You can email the show info@eradiosports.com. Catch all of the action on YouTube TV. And we are going one-on-one exclusive interview with the head coach from Texas Southern. That is Cris Dishman. And take us through, for our viewers, our listeners, describe the challenges that you face as a coach on a day-to-day basis.
Well, it's I we have 115 players, and day to day, I'm always challenged with 115 players on this team. We have 16 coaches, 16 to 20 coaches. Mm-hmm. So it's 100 and almost 100, and let me see if my Purdue math is right. It's almost 130.
Okay.
So almost 130 individuals is counting on me to say and do the right thing. And as I went throughout the year, I have learned to say and do the right thing. I have understand and tell people that I have an open door policy. And coaches sometimes have issues too. Everyone thinks the coach's life is just a coach, but we have to think about our families and definitely our families and stuff like that. We have issues. So I was always trying to be there for my coaches as well as my players. With 130, almost 140 people to manage, and I did have help. I have a great coaching staff that have helped me this year to manage things right. So that was the more thing of managing 140-something people.
Cris, let's talk about the state of college football, the NIL. I mean, how do mid-major teams survive, especially when you're competing against Power 5 conferences that just lavish riches on their players and their programs?
Well, it's hard. It's challenging. And, fairness, you got to realize we're talking about 17, 18, 19-year-old young men. And it's hard not to face the dollar. It's hard not to chase the dollar. You may have a guy who can develop you over here, as we do at Texas Southern, or go to Texas and get the dollar. And so it's hard to keep up with the Power Fives. And I keep telling the guys, when you come here, I'm not trying to sell you not to go to a Power Five. I'm trying to sell you on the goodness of Texas Southern, the homegrown of Texas Southern. The intimacy of Texas Southern is the smaller classrooms. You can walk into my office. Some Power 5 guys, you can't walk into the coach's office without the secretary and then another secretary. I have no secretary. I am the secretary and also the head coach. So you can walk into my office. I have an open door policy. Come on in, sit down, talk. If anything's bothering you, if I can't help you, the great thing about me, I'm a great listener, and I'm smart enough to go and get the answer instead of try to fake the answer.
Yeah. You're listening to The Voice. Cris Dishman, head coach at Texas Southern University, two-time NFL Pro Bowl selection. He had 13 successful years in the NFL. Did you know he was drafted by the Houston Oilers in '88, played for a number of teams in the NFL, the Commanders, the Chiefs, and his final season with the Minnesota Vikings. We got to ask you a couple professional questions. Reflect on your time with head coach Jerry Glanville. You got to give us a story or two. Come on. A colorful and a charismatic guy.
I don't think I have enough time for those Jerry Glanville.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Come on, Coach.
Well, one story, Coach Glanville, he used to call me the future. It was my rookie year, and with the Houston Oilers, he used to call me the future. And we was in New York, and I got beat by Wesley Walker. And on our scouting report, which I never read, it said you always have to play Wesley Walker to the left because he couldn't see out of one of his eyes or something like that. So I'm a brash young. I don't need no scouting report. I know what I'm doing. And Wesley Walker ended up beating me on for 2 touchdowns. And Jerry Glanville walked over to me. And he said, "Hey, future, you're gonna be a good one, but for now we got to pull you out of the game. You're killing us." And I was like, "No, Coach, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go." He said, "No." He said, "Why don't you just sit down on the bench and he said we're gonna put you back in later on when Wesley Walker get tired of beating you." It's not like that. So, and then he came back and said, "Future, the good thing about it, no one really saw those touchdowns, And I was like, "Oh, coach, no one really saw." He said, "Yep, no one really saw those touchdowns. We got next week we can prepare for it." And granted, I'm looking around. It was 100-some thousand people here. Of course, it was on television, and I'm like, "Hold on, how did nobody see me get beat for touchdowns?" But that was one of Coach
Uh
Neville's ways of always making you laugh, of always being there for you, on and off the field.
Yeah. Cris Dishman, an integral part of the Oilers' infamous House of Pain defense that helped win 51 games and 2 AFC Central titles between 89 and 93 at cornerback. And weigh in on this. How great can Stingley Jr. become as a defensive back with the Texans?
Oh, sure. As good as he want to be. Stingley is one of those rare corners that's gonna be. He's gonna play. He's gonna have a long career in the NFL, and I'm sure the Texans gonna keep him for that long career. He's a very good player. His hand-eye coordination is amazing. He can run. He's physical. He's a rare breed corner that's going to be in multiple Pro Bowls and win multiple Super Bowl champions.
Good stuff. One more quick question. Let's talk about the Texans and what do you make of C.J. Stroud? I hate to be critical, but he has had some struggles in year two. It just seems like that the defense has caught up with him.
Well, that's the give to give points to the NFL. That's NFL.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go out there and throw and run over everybody every week. People gonna make adjustments on you. And right now, people have him on film, and they know his weakness and they know his strength, and they're studying his weakness and taking advantages of his strength. So that's part of the NFL. I think C.J. Stroud is a very good quarterback. He is the right guy for the job there at the Texans. You have the right coach. You have the right people in place. So that's he haven't had the best of games as he so say wanted and as others want him to do, but I'm sure others that his expectation of himself is bigger and harder on himself than what anybody else can be on him. That's why he's professional, and I like the way he throws the football. I like the way he managed the game. So I think the Texans going to be all right.
Hey, we are wrapping up our time, our conversation with Texas Southern head coach Cris Dishman, former NFL player. And my final question for you is 3-game suspension for Shire. Was that too steep or was it just right? Give us your assessment of the decision that was made.
Well, that's the way football is going now. You slide, was it a cheap shot? I don't think it was a cheap shot. He was already into his movement. As you look, he was already going down. The guy slid, and they both collided into each other. 3-game suspension? No. I don't think it's required a 3-game suspension. But that's what is it a penalty and a game suspension? Yes, because that's what football is going now. You can't hit no one in the head. You can't do this, can't do that. In the 60s and 70s, that was legal. In the 80s and 90s, that was somewhat legal. Yeah. And now in the 2024, it's not legal. And I'm glad it's not legal because now you can save people from getting a concussion and being in concussion protocol. So the game has been cleaned up, which is great. But it's also you have to give somebody some leeway sometimes. Now, should it be a 3-game suspension? I don't agree with the NFL. I give him a 3-game suspension because the quarterback was already in his slide and he was already in his movement. What we expecting him to do, he was already into his movement. They both was into their movement. I don't see how they can say he should have pulled off because he was already going down. The quarterback was already going down. So it's probably a 1-game suspension at most and then move on.
Good stuff. We have been visiting with Cris Dishman, head coach at Texas Southern University. You enjoy some downtime, and we look forward to catching up with you again in 2025 and enjoy all the action this weekend. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you guys for having me. Let's go Tigers.